Alright, so this video was supposed to come out a week ago, but unfortunately I got really sick, and I'm still sick now. You might be able to hear it, so I apologize for that. But Borderlands 2 in 2024 has a really big problem. Now, this isn't just exclusive to Borderlands 2, and for years now I've been going over these issues in the franchise, and a lot of them just have not got changed. There are a lot of stuff that I've talked about which has been changed. Wonderlands is a big example of that. We got a lot of things fixed in Wonderlands, but the stuff that actually matters is still broken to this day, and honestly probably will never be fixed, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about it. I bring this up because I've been playing a little bit of Borderlands 2 recently. As you know, I've been doing a lot of character replacement mods, and I just can't get over how awful the scaling in the game is. Now, I was on this huge tangent about this and talking about how I don't like the scaling of Borderlands 2, even compared to Borderlands 3 on Twitter, and I had someone mention that Borderlands 2 is still technically unplayable at endgame. So for those of you that don't know, back in 2019 when the Fight for Sanctuary DLC came out, they added OP10. So there was originally 8 OP levels at endgame in Borderlands, but when Fight for Sanctuary came out, it unlocked OP10. Now OP10 brought along with it a bunch of issues. Number one, making the scaling even worse, and number two, making some bosses just straight up bugged. Like Vora on OP10 I think has literal millions, or is it billions, trillions of health? I don't know the exact amount, but OP10 brought with it a lot of issues, and it really did make Borderlands 2 worse. There are so many people that look back on Fight for Sanctuary as a detriment to the game and would tell you that they just don't want Gearbox to touch Borderlands 2 anymore out of fear that they'll just break it again. Now I say break it again because the biggest issue that OP10 brought with it with the Fight for Sanctuary DLC is that now, unfortunately, in order to access OP levels, you need to have the Fight for Sanctuary DLC. Now this is an issue that Gearbox are well aware of, and it never got fixed in Borderlands 2. It just never got fixed. Now, this is a major problem. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be quick to say, but yeah, they made Fight for Sanctuary free, so if you didn't download it, you kind of brought that on yourself. But that's just not fair to say, and it's not how that works when it comes to reporting bugs. At the end of the day, does a bug exist? If it does, then we need to fix it. And this is one of them bugs that needs to be fixed, because for a lot of people, it quite literally hard locks them out of the endgame content in Borderlands 2 for the most part. I mean, honestly, they're not missing much because OP levels suck, but I mean, still. So I was thinking about this, and I was pretty set on making a video talking about these issues in Borderlands 2, and then that kind of spiraled into something else, which is just all of these other issues with other games that are genuinely game-breaking that have not been fixed. That's what this comes down to. I don't really care about like, okay, this gun doesn't do enough damage, because that is one of them things where the game is still playable. Yes, it does suck. Yes, it should be fixed, changed, but the game is still playable. However, with this situation, I got thinking about like, you know, what about the bugs in other games that genuinely make them unplayable? And so I want to list a few of them off for you guys here. And yeah, I mean, these are things which we've brought up in the past, but just did not get changed. Let's start all the way back at square one. With Borderlands 1, the remaster on PC introduced a memory leak. This memory leak has never been fixed, and it makes Borderlands 1 near unplayable if you have the remaster on PC. A lot of people will play the classic version because of this, and this never got fixed. This is another thing that Gearbox are aware of, and they did not go back and fix it. Now, for the record, to be fair to them, Borderlands 1 Remaster was done by Blind Squirrel Games, but it really doesn't matter what skeleton crew you've got on a project. If there is a bug, it needs to be fixed. People are paying money for a product. If it's not working, it needs to work. Otherwise, you're basically scamming them at that point. Oh, and just to give you some modding insight here, by the way, while we're on this subject, Wonderlands and Borderlands 3 has a memory leak too. Never got fixed. And speaking of Wonderlands, just before Wonderlands launch, the Dragon Keep one-shot adventure quite literally does not even give you gear that is advertised. I opened up that one-shot adventure and found so much wrong with it. First of all, TVHM does not function correctly. Enemies do not scale to your level like they should. And to top it off, the worst thing is that there are advertised drops, items that should drop within this little standalone that just don't drop. They quite literally do not drop. You cannot legitimately get them in-game. It does not work. Also, continuing on the subject of Wonderlands here, the bank is still incredibly laggy. This is something that I have brought up numerous times in the past. The bank in Wonderlands, when you put basically anything over 20 to 30 items in it, is so incredibly slow, and this never got fixed, and this really worries me because if this same kind of system is in Borderlands 4 and it functions the same way, we are going to have laggy, horrible, unoptimized UI, which is going to cause more issues than it's going to solve. And also on the subject of Wonderlands, yet again, many issues here. The split screen UI makes the game almost unplayable for split screen partners. Now, before you say, who's playing split screen in 2024? Once again, this is not a situation to argue semantics. It exists. It needs to be fixed. It is that simple. And now finally, one that I want to talk about is the Borderlands 3 crashing issues. These need to be fixed. This is probably the most crucial of the issues that I'm going to talk about today, and it's very simple as to why. The Maliwan takedown and vendors in general in Borderlands 3 were working absolutely fine, and then Gearbox updated the game before dropping Borderlands 3 and they broke them. Now when you look at a vendor, there is a chance that you are just going to crash. It is a hard crash, drop you out of the game. There is a chance for loss of data there. This is a very, very serious bug, and there is a temporary workaround thanks to CZ and now myself. I've made this into a pack mod. If you're on PC, you can install my vendor crash fix mod, because at that point, this is where we are. We are just fixing the game when we shouldn't be the ones doing it. And another big one for my console gamers out there is that on the Series S for Xbox, this is going to just cause the game to crash sometimes. Now, unfortunately, I don't have access to those files. I'm not familiar with the hardware. I can't go in, tell you what's wrong with that, offer Gearbox ways they could fix this. I'm sure they are far more experienced in fixing this one than I am, and obviously they are. I mean, they've been in that field of work way longer than I am, and they are way more up to date with their own systems than I, of course, am going to be. But these are big issues which still have not been changed. Now, I'm sure this video is going to spew 56 million conspiracy theories on has Epic dropped the paycheck from 2K? My brother, I have never ever cared about a deal when it comes to airing out issues with these games, and if you think I have, you might have brain damage. But I just wanted to run, and I really think that getting this stuff out into the open might be a way to do a little bit of signaling for Borderlands 4 that, hey, maybe we should not keep touching these games and breaking them and then leaving them. It is doing more damage than it is doing good. So give me your thoughts on that in the comment section down below. And also, we're ending on gameplay of this right here. In my last video, a lot of people were asking what this is. Epic, what game is that? What mod is that? A lot of people were like, that's a mod for Borderlands 3. He made that mod for Borderlands 3. But that is just not true. This is not Borderlands 3, but this is a Borderlands game that I made inside of Unreal Engine 5. Before you ask, no, it will not be released because unfortunately it's using Borderlands assets, and I cannot republish someone else's assets. That is basically illegal. It would get me in a lot of legal trouble. But the game is called Vaughan Survivors. For a long time I called it Vault Survivors, and it basically just turns Borderlands as a concept into a Survivors game as a concept, and it's very fun, and I have a lot of fun making it, and I hope you guys think it looks cool too. I kind of just get carried away with these side projects that I want to complete, and then I just do them, and maybe I'll make a video on these sometime. Leave a suggestion in the comment section down below for what game I should make in the style of Borderlands, and maybe I'll do it. Anyway, that's enough of my sick, stuffy voice. I'm really sorry that you had to suffer through that, but don't forget to leave a like on the video, and please subscribe to the channel. We love it when people sub to the channel. Very good. I would love that very much. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good rest of your day and stay safe.